Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah for those of you who didn't know that. And today I am doing my most disappointing reads. So in this list I'm gonna call them disappointing reads because obviously when I pick up a book I'm hoping that I will love it. So I'm calling them disappointing because some of them I have thought more highly of, and some of them I had hopes for, but they just didn't do me the favor. So I'm going to go in the order that I read them because that's much easier, because I won't rate them from like the best to the worst because I kind of don't have that. So the first book is The Pleasure of Eliza Lynch by Anne Wright or something. So I gave this book 2 stars. And the thing about this book, I have heard a lot of people talking good about it, and I did read this for my All Around the World challenge. And the thing about it was written really beautifully. But the thing that kind of let it down for me was that I just couldn't get into the story. I didn't connect with it. That was kind of the reason why this one come here, because I've heard a lot of people's write reviews on how beautiful it was written. And I wanted to try it out, but it just didn't do the tricks for me. Then the next book is Wolf Signs by Vivian Arend. And basically what this book is about I thought was really interesting because the main character is deaf. The thing that let me down was the thing that it was a little fast-paced. But I gave it 3 stars because I really loved what the book was about. But it was a little fast-paced for me, and I just wanted more content. And I think if I had gotten more content, if the book was longer, I think it would have pulled it up. Definitely. It was 169 pages. I just wanted more from this story because it was really interesting. And then the next book is When Heaven Weeps by Ted Dekker, and I also gave this 3 stars, which isn't bad. 3 stars is not a bad thing. But I thought the premise of this book was really interesting. But I just felt like, yeah, I have to say, I loved the start and I loved the ending. But the place in between was just a little too much, a little too, not boring, but kind of not as exciting as the start and the finish. But the premise was so cool, and I wanted to love this book. But I feel like it took me so long to actually finish it because it just was a little boring in between. Oh yeah. The next one is Tempting the Beast by Laura Lee. And first of all, the reason it is in here, I think, is because it's not my genre. It's erotica, I think. And I just don't think it's the genre for me, especially this book. That is kind of all I'm going to say, because it just wasn't for me. It has a really good, it has 3.94 in stars, so it's really good, but I just don't think the book was for me. That's the reason why I didn't love it. And then we have Just a Kiss Away by Jill Barnett. And this one has like a 3.74 stars, and I kind of had a good feeling. I gave it 2.5 stars because the story itself was really good. However, the two main characters, we have Sam. He's the biggest ass. He's really mean to the girl, and yeah. But I agree with him too, because the main girl, like Lolly, half of this book, more than half of this book, I wanted to strangle her because she was so annoying. When it got better between those two was the few last chapters. Then they were really good. So yeah, the premise of the story was really good, but it just didn't cut it for me. The next book is Heaven by Rebecca Weatherspoon. And this book had a really interesting story. And I love Claudia. She was a really strong female character, and she had a lot of her own opinions. However, if I do remember everything right, I enjoyed this until all the sex started. And I don't think it was for that alone. I just feel like sometimes I feel like all what the characters are doing is that same thing over and over again. They are like one small section is they doing something else, and then they are in bed again. And then I'm like, I don't care if there is sex in something. However, I feel like you need to be able to do something else and just not only that. I feel like, yeah, and that is, I give it 2 stars, but that is, yeah. I don't know how I'm going to explain it, but it's just me having, I think it's a problem with, especially with the erotica genre, is that a lot of those are like half of the time, or over half of the time, like 80-90%, they are in bed and they are doing nothing else. And that might be the genre, but I want to have this feeling that this actually can be in real time, because in real time, do you spend 80% of your life in bed with your other person? Most likely you answer no. So the next I want to talk about, it kind of makes me sad that I didn't like this book, but I think the reason why it is on this list is because I expected so much better. And that is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. And I liked some aspects of the book, but then some aspects I didn't like. Um, and I did like kind of the idea of going abroad, studying, and I mean, the writing wasn't bad for a debut author's novel. However, I didn't like the Insta love. I usually don't like Insta love at all. And Shane was just a little too much for me, to be honest. And I feel like the reason why I had so big kind of hype around it was because a lot of people had said that it was good. People loved it. And then I feel like I have followed her so long that I had a lot of expectations as well. But I think that I have kind of read a lot of really well done kind of romance genres, romance books, that this one just, I kind of say, didn't cut it. It's nothing wrong with kind of the book itself, except that it is kind of cheating in it. And that is something I don't like. So, yeah. I'm really sad that I didn't like it. I wanted to like it, and that's the thing. And I mean, 3 stars is not bad, but I mean, I think the reason it got 3 stars, I haven't read much bad romance, so I don't know what bad romance is. And then the next book is Breathless by Celeste Bradley and Susan Donovan. And I gave it 3 stars as well, so it's not bad. I feel like a lot of my kind of, I'm gonna say, disappointing reads are 3 stars books. But I feel like I just expected more from them because the books I read has an interesting premise of them. And this book, it was good, don't get me wrong. But the thing that I was lacking was more chapters from the past point of view, because there was a past and a present. And I wanted more from the past because they were really interesting. And the 2 main characters, they fell in love like that. And I mean, Insta love, you know, I don't usually like it. And yeah. And with that, I think that we have them all that I kind of expected more from. And I mean, there are some other 3 stars books on this, like on my read pile. For example, like Gossip Girl and Horse Crazy and like that. But I have taken into consideration, I knew Gossip Girl wasn't going to be my favorite book. I didn't have too high expectations for it. That's why it's not on this list. Because these books are kind of books I have had, like, thought I might give them 4 or 5 stars, but they just haven't cut it. But yeah, that was all my disappointing reads. I mean, this is filmed kind of early in December or in November. It's pre-filmed. So I don't know, it might be some other disappointing books, but I don't think so. But if there are, they will be in like next years if there are any disappointing books. But I mean, I'm gonna say I'm good at keeping my thoughts really low on books and just thinking, oh, this is really good. But yeah, that was it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to follow me on any of my social media, all the links are down in the description. And I will see you next time. Bye!